This week, a native of Washington, D.C., an Iowa Hawkeye, and currently in the NBA with the Minnesota Timberwolves, Luka Garza.
Let's go.
This is Luka Garza, and I'm on the One Star Recruits podcast.
Yo, aloha. Welcome to the One Star Recruits podcast. I'm DK. Got my best friend Rip with me. We are one stars doing our best to surround ourselves with 5 stars and get better at life and living and just being better every day. And listeners, you better believe it. We're back. And guess what? We got Nick B with us. Let's go.
Let's go.
Back by popular demand. Nick B, man, we've been missing you for a few weeks. Lots and lots of feedback. Lots and lots of listeners asking what the hell happened to you. Where you been, Nick B?
I would like to believe that, man. I feel like I kind of got ghosted last week when I was thinking I was going to be on the pod. Not to go there, DK, but I've been just moving and shaking, bro. But I'm here. I'm excited. I got my Titleist hat on. Let's go.
Yeah, we knew you were looking at golf courses and moving around. I played some golf, listeners, with Nick B this morning at a beautiful his country club here in Phoenix, Arizona. It's a beautiful course called Legacy Golf Course. If you're ever in Arizona, come check it out. I must say, Nick B, the grass. What is that? Tallahassee fern? What kind of grass is that?
It's ryegrass. The majority, I believe, is ryegrass.
Rip, it was really nice for Arizona. This is the time, listeners, if you can come out to the state of Arizona this autumn little section, it is 100%. Listeners, if you're in the Midwest or Iowa, you want to get a golf trip, it's the time to do it. The golf game itself, though, Rip, not good. I did probably the most one-star thing that you can do on the golf course. Do you know what that is?
One-star moment of the week. Are we going there right
now?
No,
you
just ask me my guess at that.
Yeah, just your guess. Like, what's probably the most embarrassing thing you could do immediately on the first hole?
Forget your clubs would be the most embarrassing thing. So you didn't do that. Well, I guess
I'd say shit your pants, but I hope it's not shit your pants.
Well, that's aggressive. If that's happening, you're probably not that's very aggressive, Rip, but that would be terrible. No, the worst thing is you step up on the first hole and you're ready, and the ranger and some other golfers and, people eating brunch. My man Jose was in checking us in. I know he was probably watching on the first. You got eyes on you, Rip. So here comes up to the tee box, DK. I step up and nervous, fucking take a huge swing. Missed everything, Rip.
Swing and miss.
Complete swing and miss. A little tippy tip hit a little bit of the ball, so the ball just did enough that I couldn't play it off. Like it was a practice.
It fell over.
A little bit, and I heard Nick B kind of like the wind went out of his system, and the Rangers kind of disappointed. And I just rushed another one, and I powered it just left into the Arizona desert. And that's how I started this fucking Rip.
It was so good.
That's the one-star special, man. And the thing is, though, you've been golfing quite a bit, man. I can't. Was it nerves? What was it?
It's a combination thing. I try to explain it away. Yeah, and I think it was nervousness. Nick B is a fucking good golfer, listeners. Okay, too. He's also very cool and relaxed on the golf course. But he's very good too, and he's been making me feel like this was a lot of pressure. And I play Hawaii golf, man. It's just very relaxed. Nick B fills in his divots and he marks his balls and he does all the really great golf rules. And I think I was nervous, Rip. I think it's just a 1-star. I cleaned up on the back nine a little bit. I had about 5 or 6 good shots on the back nine. I think I actually stayed under 50 on the back nine, which was nice. And I had a fucking blast. It goes back to the weather and the company, and that's what golf's all about. But very disappointed. I made a commitment to myself, and I'll throw it out on the pod because listeners are with me on my life. I'm gonna get better at golf. I need to get out of the 90s and out of the hundreds, and I need to be able to. Nick B, what I did with you is unacceptable. You were playing fairway golf, and I was playing desert golf, and that's not fun for anybody. We couldn't even hang out most of the time. Long-winded way. That was it.
I have to disagree because I think that was a fantastic, extremely enjoyable round of golf. It's not about hitting it perfect every time. Just wiping the floor with you all day, DK, was so much fun. I mean, I did play better than normal, so that helps. But you could blame it on the nervousness, but I think that probably the biggest reason as to why your ball accidentally fell off the tee on hole 1, and then why you did have a couple hosel rockets. Actually, on the scorecard, we have a hit a house and then hit the second ball in the fairway. So you did hit a condo extremely hard. Luckily, you missed a window. But I think that it's because you kind of, in my opinion, overconfidently accepted a best 2 out of 3 bet. Nick B against DK, and we are going to fully handicap it. So Nick B is up 1-0, and so I did kind of say when we were wrapping the day up, I kind of said, DK, you got as much time as you need, man. You let me know when you're ready for me to come out to Maui. I think you probably should take at least a month. I mean, that's generous, maybe a couple. Get some practice in. I'll come out to Maui, and maybe you can put the hurt on me on your home course, and then we'll be going to Vegas.
I put together a few questions about your golf round today, and we'll go to those after the interview. But that was my next question, actually, because this challenge, this best out of 3, you're not scrapping it after today. It sounds like you're just maybe extending the expiration date. It's open ended. Like this thing could take 3 years, as long as it takes for DK to get better.
Well, yeah. And you play your handicap, Rip. So I'm playing too. I'm getting the odds in my favor as well.
Are we maybe hearing live on the pod that your current handicap is not exactly maybe dialed into an accurate number?
Oh, mine. No, it's 20. I'm probably 21.
Okay.
He set the bar. He set the bar.
Legal drinking age currently. But it's also, fuck it. No more details. It's enough golf. We'll take some golf on the back end. Nick B, have you ever been to Culver's?
I have.
They have them in Arizona. Yeah. So you're with that. Have you ever been to the state of Iowa, Nick B?
I have not yet been to the state of Iowa. I plan on going for sure.
You got to put it on your list. On the back end, we're going to dig in a little bit more about personal experiences in this really amazing state, Rip, that we're learning a lot about. But the basketball community is something we didn't know as much about. I knew about Keegan Murray recently. Your boy knew about BJ Armstrong, Matt Bullard, a little Fred Brown, Rip. How about Bob Hansen? Lots of good names. The Carver Hawkeye Arena is a place to go to in the winter. Obviously, it's a football school. I know lots of people do the Iowa Wave and go watch Iowa run what's the offense called that they run, Rip?
It was just throw it to Luka Garza. That was the offense when he was there.
Oh, that was the basketball. How about the football too? It's just a power I pretty much. They got that going, nice weather. But I think the Luka Garza turned the tides a little bit, and Iowa hoops with guys like Keegan, who, Rip, as you know, I love him on the Kings, man. Maybe quietly becoming a basketball school. Enjoy this interview with Luka Garza.
Now joining the One Star Recruits podcast, we have a native of Washington, D.C., an Iowa Hawkeye alum, a current two-way player with the Iowa Wolves and the Minnesota Timberwolves, and possibly the only NBA player whose dad has as many Twitter followers as he does, Luka Garza. Thanks for hanging out with the One Stars, Luka.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you guys.
Hey, I joke about your dad, man, but it's actually really impressive to me. I want to give your parents a little bit of love off the top here, because let's say both your mother and your father, they were also hoopers, and your mom is she's currently with the Embassy of Bosnia and Herzegovina in DC, and your dad, let's say he's a sales professional, an athlete trainer, really an icon. And they've always been there for you. They really laid a foundation for your success. The importance of having both parents as role models, what does that mean to you?
It means everything. And for me, it was even more than just my parents, just my whole family and who they surrounded me around. I have, basketball runs in my blood. I got 3 cousins right now playing pro overseas. My uncle played at Oregon State with Gary Payton, played pro for 20 years. My aunt played pro. My mom played pro. My dad didn't play pro, but that was really a decision on his part. He kind of wanted to go into business after college. My grandpa played in college. So, when you're around that level of success within sports, and I mean, the greatest sportsman was my grandfather on my mother's side, who was a goalie, and he was teammates with Pele. So when you talk about, and he was a legend in Bosnia, like when I was growing up over there, and I'd be over there for the summers and like walking around, and people are asking for pictures with him. And like, it was just kind of crazy, walking around the town of Sarajevo. So, when you have a family and a support system like that, it means everything. And my dad has obviously played a huge role in, after the Let the Peacock Fly stuff, my sophomore year and everything, he's got a lot of publicity, but he's done so much for me. He taught me the game of basketball. He showed me everything I do, and he showed me what work ethic was, and my mother did as well. And, everything she's been through is just something that has inspired me to work as hard as I do and to play the game the way I do.
I love it, man. Any summers spent in is Oregon State in Beaverton? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
See, it's Beaverton. Visits to Gary Payton. Any memories of the glove ever D'ing you down as a getting D'd up as a youngster? Or did the times not match up?
Yeah, I was a little bit too young for that.
Yeah, that was that young.
There are a lot of stories about my uncle and Gary Payton, and how they were teammates, went at it at different points, and some scuffles, stuff like that. But no, I mean, they were both high competitors, and just having that kind of success, like every summer when he would train me as well, and I'd learn a little bit from him and what he had been through. And so he was always probably the most successful within college sports in basketball, and I'm still trying to chase him and how long of a pro career he had.
It's like this. I think they say like 6 degrees of seven bacon. It's always wild when we have 5-star athletes on and they have these wonderful lineages, dude. Okay, so second year NBA player on a 2-way contract. For our listeners, aka probably my mother too, she doesn't know this, I'm sure. We talked to a lot of NBA guys who are in the G League. For people who don't know a ton, just take us through a quick life. Things like how much notice do you get when being called up or sent down? Do you have apartments in both cities, Des Moines and Minnie? I mean, is it a good vibe? Is it a good, easy setup, or is it like living two lives?
Yeah, so I mean, first, I think it does depend a lot about where you are. And now having experienced in two places, I've been very lucky. In Detroit, they had a really good setup, and it was a really easy setup because the Motor City Crews were right in Detroit. We played at Wayne State, which is right across from our practice facility. We practiced in the same facility. So it was really seamless. Like, I didn't miss much time with the Pistons to be with the Crews. So, I mean, I got about 30, 40 games with both teams throughout the year. And there's really no notice. Sometimes they'll give you a week ahead schedule, but really it's, if someone gets hurt, I remember, playing a game in Detroit for the Motor City Crews. And the next day we had a back-to-back in Cleveland. Then I flew out to Boston to play against the Celtics. And then I had another game against Maine for a fourth day in a row. So, and when you go through stretches like that, it's tough, but it's what it's about. You have to be ready whenever your name is called. When Kelly Olynyk went down early in the year, we had played a G League game, and I was on a bus that night to get to Cleveland to play against the Cavaliers the next day and be in the rotation. So, when you have to be ready for everything when you're in that situation, but you also embrace it. And here in Minnesota has been awesome. I think it's a little bit different because, we're a little bit further away from Minnesota, but you do have apartments in both places in this kind of situation. But I mean, the transition is also seamless. Coach Newton and John Wallace does a great job of kind of creating the same kind of vibe that's in Minnesota that's here. We run the same offense. Everything's the same. Tim Connolly was at our opening game to start the season. So when you have that support from the front office of the Timberwolves and the coaches and the players and everybody, it means a lot. And they take it serious. Some G League teams, it doesn't really matter. But for the Timberwolves and, even I would say for the Pistons, like the G League, the development in the G League for the young guys, it means a lot. So for us, we play an important role, here. It's important for us to win games, important for us to develop and work hard. So when we do get our chance and we do get called up, like everybody does, the one thing is 82 games, like you're going to get called up, you're going to be put in that situation, thrown into the fire at some point. So you just got to be ready for it.
Yeah, let's go, man. I'm going to throw my Santa Cruz Warriors in. I think they do a great job. Also, close proximity. I think Rollins is playing the Oklahoma City Blue last night, hopping off that GSW roster. And, really happy to see the growth. And I'm glad you landed at home and a little bit close. Dude, something that we've learned about recently, we had the washed up walk-ons on our podcast. They're an Iowa pod, local, awesome dudes, football guys. It's a 2-hour drive from Iowa City now where you're at. Consensus National Player of the Year, the big man on campus. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but 4 great years, man, an amazing run. And thank you. Coming from a guy, I'm in Hawaii, Rips in California. You landed on our text message quite a bit, man, throughout those years. So appreciate just the fun watching of Iowa basketball. But here it goes, bro. What's the recruiting pitch that you'd give to a high school hooper to spend their career in Iowa City?
I've done it so many times. I don't know how good my success rates, been. They call me in for like the big 5 stars and the 4 stars, and I'm on the phone. But I've gotten
NBA now, though, bro. NBA, Luka, NBA now. It hits different.
Yeah, I've gotten a few guys. Philip Rabacha, the transfer. I spent some time on that one, and some other guys that committed that I've talked to. I mean, I just I kind of tell them that, it really is a no-brainer. If you want, if it's a guy that's similar to me, it really is a no-brainer. Coaches in college, sometimes they want you to play within a system and they only put you on certain spots on the floor. And when I was being recruited, there were certain schools that were kind of telling me, hey, we love what you do on the low block. You're going to be on the low block. And there was other schools like, we love your shooting. We want you to be on the outside. And it's like me, I was like, I want to do both. And I think I can excel at doing both. And I want to be at multiple spots on the floor. And that's what Coach Fran said. It doesn't matter if you play a 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1. You're going to be everywhere on the court. And, that really was the truth. So when you look at our offense and how we play, you learn a lot about the game. Most of our offense is motion. That's just playing, that's screening, just knowing when to go set a flare screen, when to run up into a ball screen. He'll call sets at different points in the second half. But most, when you watch these games, like they played Monday night, like there might have been 2, play calls that were called up the whole game besides out of bounds under. It's just really our flow and how we play. So when you think about that, you grow as a basketball player, and offensively, you learn how to be on different spots on the floor. And, the pace that we play at, obviously, there is differences, between the NBA and college for the most part. But for me and for the guys that go to Iowa, the pace is very similar. We try to score quick. We try to run. And it's very similar with the 24-second shot clock. Everything's trying to go quick into actions. And so, you do learn a lot about that. And, I think the other thing was, just being in Iowa, being at the University of Iowa, you're basically like the pro team. There's no other, we have the Iowa Wolves here in Des Moines, but in Iowa City, it's 2 hours away. These people want to come to the games. They want to support you. If you're really good in a situation like that, you're like the LeBron James to them, at a certain sense. And, that comes from working hard. And, there's no better coach to play for than Coach McCaffrey. And honestly, there's just no better program for a lot of guys who want to thrive and learn and grow as a player.
Dude, that was money, Luka. That was a terrific pitch. Let me do 2 more quick hitter add-ons. First one, just Iowa football. Should we start running a spread offense a little bit? Maybe a little bit more creative.
It's tough. I've been watching all the weeks and supporting them as much as I can. And they're all good dudes. I love Spencer. He's a great dude. And it's been tough on the offensive end, but last week, we scored 24 last week.
24 opened up a little bit.
34 or 33 the week before. We'll take that. And I think, obviously it has this type of offense that we play. It has worked in the past. When you talk about the year before I got there, when they were 12-0 and made it to the Rose Bowl, and obviously being Big Ten West champions last year and being in a position to be, in a Big Ten championship game against a very good Michigan team, and so it's been successful. Obviously, the fans, want a more high tempo offense and want to move it.
Get a little sexier. It can get a little sexier.
It can be. But then when you reverse it and we talk about Iowa basketball and we have the best offense ever, and all they do is complain about
there
our
defense. It is. Spin
like
zone.
You can't have some places you can't have both.
Spin zone.
It's just like you got to pick your poison. And so I think there's some programs that can do both at the highest level, and you get points. And I think with a defense as strong as ours, and as good as we've been, top 10 in the country, you just need the offense to be, pretty good. And that was similar to basketball. We had the best offense in the country, 3 out of the 4 years I was there. Assist to turnover ratio, everything, points scored, pace, everything, field goal percentage. Connor McCaffrey led the country my junior year in assist to turnover ratio. I led it in scoring. Like, we had one of the high-powered offenses for 3 years. Our defense wasn't great, but my senior year, we were top, 50, top 100, somewhere around there, and that's solid. And that's all we needed to be really successful, be a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. So I think getting the offense to be, it doesn't need to be, Alabama or whatever school you want to talk about that really like launches the ball, but it needs to be, it needs to be solid because our defense is so good. They can carry us.
Dude, another quality. We're clipping both of these. Rip. Last and final one. We're gonna do our 1 to 5 star. I'm trying to get my boys, Kluver and Drake, and that great podcast. They love Culver's, the butter burgers there, man.
Oh,
you stay in shape, bro. What's your order when you get
And then the cheese curds, man. You got to get it with the cheese curds. I've done that a few times. Hey, I was 275 in college, man. I wasn't. I'm 248 right now. It was a little bit different. I could have off day after, dropping 30 or getting a win, I could have a butter burger for sure.
They don't rip. You don't know, but they don't mess around. They do these custards and these butter burgers. I'm trying to get these boys a sponsorship because it makes perfect sense. But Matt, great Iowa talk. Thank you for talking that with me. I appreciate it, bro.
Definitely.
Luka, dangerously close to Iowa City and those cheese curds still. Hey, we end every interview with the segment we call 1 star to 5 star. We're 1 stars, man. We're trying to get better with advice and tips from every guest we have on this pod, like yourself. So I want to ask a few questions that run the gamut on a 1 to 5 star scale. Let's say 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest.
Okay.
All right. You mentioned before the NBA season, 82 games. The G League season is a lot more spread out. It's only 36 games, a lot more non-game days. You're a little different since you're on a two-way and bouncing back and forth. But when you do have some downtime during that long extended season, what's the 5-star activity we can always find Luka Garza doing on an off day?
Say the 5-star activity would be playing Fortnite or some other video game. I'd say on my off days, it's a combination of either playing video games or watching games, like whoever's playing the NBA. If someone's playing in college, if I was playing, obviously. But if I got guys that I know that are a lot of different schools, so I try to support and watch as many guys as I can. And I'm always, watching sports, if it's football, if it's basketball, if it's the World Series, whatever it is, I'm trying to tune into everything. So I say the 5-star activities are video games or, whatever sports event are on.
All right, good one. All right. I love watching you play, obviously, the days at Iowa, now as a pro, and you really are an elite player. But as we all know, there's room for improvement in everyone's game. So just because we're the 1-star recruits, I want to ask about the specific part of your game that you've maybe been tasked to work on between call-ups, or let's call it the 1-star part of your game that either the coaches or you personally just want to get better at. What do you feel like you need to improve on the most in order to stick in the NBA long term?
Yeah, I think there's a long list of things. I'm always very critical of myself, and I think everybody, easy answer would be kind of myself on the defensive end. But for me, I've been asked to really work on my playmaking, my ability to see the floor and pass the ball, and it's something I've always been skilled at, and I can pass. But my mindset has always been, and every coach has told me, go score the ball. And I think they both go hand in hand. When you score, you can open up the passing, but keeping them, especially within Coach Finch's system, like the big men. Has a huge role, and you see it with Karl-Anthony Towns. He's averaging 6-7 assists a game because he just keeps the offense flowing from side to side, and that's an important thing. There's a lot of responsibility put on the big men in our offense to kind of run the show a little bit and keep the offense going when the first action breaks down, getting into the second, third action. So that's something I've been trying to work on a lot, and I was happy, through the first games, averaging like 4 assists or whatever, which is an improvement. And I don't think I've ever averaged 4 assists in my life. So I'm getting better at something I'm working on and intently try to focus on.
And the G League's the perfect forum, man. You get the minutes out there and you get to work on stuff like that. I love to see it. Last one here, we mentioned off the top, DC native. You grew up in that DMV area, which has always been a hotbed for hoopers for so long. So let's close it out with your 5-star starting lineup of hoopers from that DC, Maryland, Virginia area all time.
Yeah,
just off the top of your head.
That's tough. That's really tough.
There's so many to choose from.
So Kevin Durant, obviously, that'll be in there. It gets really tough. I'm gonna shout out, our assistant coach here with the Iowa Wolves, James White. I'm taking him on my team.
James White, Cincinnati, baby.
Yeah. I'm gonna take myself. I gotta stick with myself. I gotta,
Absolutely.
So those three, there's so many. Victor Oladipo would be my 4th pick, and then I'd say, I know I left out so many.
We get a point guard. Who's the point guard? Who's your point guard?
There's Quinn Cook. There's Akil Carr. There's Chris Likes, my guy. There's so many. We're gonna go big. I'm gonna go with my teammate from last year, Jeremy Grant. I'm leaving a lot out there. Sadiq Bey. There's Markel.
You're giving reminding the listeners that Prince George County, DMV area really is a mecca.
It's the best high school basketball there is in the country, and no one can debate me on that because there's too long of a list. How connected DC, Maryland, Virginia are, it like kind of all globs into one. So California, whatever, New York, Philly, and they're not really close in terms of how many players that we have in this kind of little small area. I think per capita is the most NBA players per capita from one area was PG County, and that's just part of how many guys that we have coming from the DMV.
Man,
I was just gonna say, you don't have to go far anywhere in the NBA to find guys from that area. Just on that Pistons team, you mentioned Sadiq, Jeremy Grant, yourself. I mean, right there. But I love it, Luka. Everyone follow Luka's journey, both in the G League and the NBA this season with the Wolves. You can find him at LukaG_55 on Twitter and at LGarza_55 on Instagram. Keep doing big things, man. You're really exciting for us to watch, and we love to see your bright future, man. Thanks, Luka, for coming on with the One Star Recruits.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me.
One-star bump for Luka Garza. Got that call up to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Rip, he is in that Twin Towers. He is the third tower, I guess. Lots of bigs in Minnesota.
Lots of bigs, and I love at the end how he kind of talked about what he's working on to improve is that playmaking ability, because you see those bigs, like you mentioned, Karl Anthony Towns, even Rudy Gobert's got a little passing flair to his game. So he's trying to follow in their footsteps, man. He's in a great spot as a young guy, and I think he's going to be a rotational guy soon, man.
Yeah, that was dope. That was really good, man. Actually, I didn't even mention my favorite Iowa basketball alumni, current Maui resident with me, friend of the pod, Don Nelson, Paia resident.
Going way back.
Yeah, man. He's up in Paia, probably smoking a J with Willie Nelson as we speak. That's right. He's a great alumni, man. Yeah, lots of good basketball culture there. I think it's a situation where it's a football school trying to dig in, man. Classic song and dance in the Midwest, especially in the Big 12. Anyway, Rip, what are your golf questions, bro?
Yeah, so I put together, Nick B kind of spurred this, but 3 specific questions about your golf round today. I don't know if you want to say the scores or anything like that, but I got a little offbeat, questions that I put together specific to you guys, because it was the first of a 3-round challenge. So if you found this out, and let's let you can both answer. Nick B, you go first on this one. Who is the most out of shape based on today's round? Because I know DK has been putting in work training on the mountains of Maui. Was anybody winded? Who's the most out of shape based on today's round?
I mean, I guess because I have to choose one, I can't say it's a tie. I'll say that I'm more out of shape than DK because, I mean, we historically have been out of shape our whole, since we were college roommates.
One star.
And we're both in way better shape than I think that we've been in the most recent past. But so, yeah, I mean, I guess I'd have to say that I'm the most out of shape, although I don't think either of us are. What do you think, DK?
Yeah, I think I got more steps in because Nick puts the ball around. And I literally was the guy. I was running to try to find my ball to not like disrespect the people behind me. So I am, because I got more steps in. I got 13,000 steps in today.
Actually, I have to challenge that because I did forget something in the car before we started. So I had to run back out to the car and then even forgot a charger cord even after that. And so I had to go back to the car after 9 holes. So my walk to and from the truck in the parking lot probably matches your steps.
Check the iPhone stats right now. You guys both got your phone. Check the steps right now.
I don't ever keep them. I don't keep my phone in my pocket.
13,600 for me, bro. I got my clean fucking 6 mile day, Nick B. So
how does it even know that? Your phone wasn't in your pocket.
Oh, yeah, that's my extracurricular activity. No, you're right. That's a very good point. That
was a lie. You caught him out live.
13K, bro.
He made that shit
no
up.
lie. I still have my steps. I had a very busy day, Rip. I'm moving around Arizona, bro. Was it
that's
Bono's
true.
Pizza? I had Bono's Pizza today, Rip. I could get to that. But yeah, Nick B, that's a 1-star answer on my behalf because you're totally right. Phone stays in the cart.
All right, question number 2. Let's stick with you, DK. We heard a story a few pods back about Nick B throwing an adult tantrum on the way, I believe, on the way back from Vegas or a soccer tournament. Who got the most upset today? Were there any 9-irons broken over a knee, like a Bo Jackson style, or any adult tantrums on the course today? Who got the most upset?
Yeah, me 10 times probably, and then I'll try to rationalize it on the car ride home, on the car ride to the next hole, or I do my thing where I grab my putter and 3 other clubs and I do the walk of shame. And I did about 10 or 11 walks of shame. So fully me. Nick B is a big baby. He missed 3 times. He missed in great places. Every time he missed, yelled out like a little bitch, and then he like still had a fairway chip. It just wasn't on the green. So F off, Nick. I'm never going to let you answer that. That was me. Next question.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
All right, let's go. DK, you don't even have that bad of a temper, man, but I know golf does it sometimes. All right, last question. I know your tee time was 8:30 in the morning, but I got to ask, who drank and or smoked the most before, during, and after the round?
Me and Nick B we actually started talking about a business that we might relieve on the podcast in the future. And just a little teaser, it involves a strain of marijuana that you might use specifically to get better at golf. So think on that a little bit. Might have to edit that out and rip because it's great information. But it was a clean tie, and I think we both recreated just the perfect amount to enjoy golf, but not get any birdies, and I didn't get any pars, if that answers your question. So clean tie, both of us no booze though, 0 booze, 1 Diet Pepsi that we split.
That actually, I guess I do have to kind of call myself out in a little bit from a standpoint of DK. Well, I guess I was going to say, correct. Neither of us drank any booze, and the game of golf is different for me, honestly, if I drink or if I don't drink. I've got a lot of friends that drink when they play. I don't play near as good when I drink. So for sure that had to do a little bit with why I whooped DK's ass so bad, because but we did. I think we had the exact same amount of consumption because we did it in true fashion of just share. We did puff, puff, pass.
Yeah.
Fix your divot, puff, puff, pass, take a putt.
But you also shared a Diet Pepsi. How's that work? Like same straw, 2 straws? How'd that
No,
work?
a couple ice, hit it if you want it, type deal.
Okay.
I'm not a big straw guy. I like to just drink straight from the cup.
Nick's a big take the top off the straw. I do the straw. Nick will take the top off and hit it. You just share things. We're buds, Rip. And I will give, after a couple lovely legal rec J's on the back nine of that golf course, we ended 5-star style at the Legacy Golf Course restaurant with a brand new menu. 5-star food, 5-star calamari, terrific pretzel bites. And you know what, man? 5-star experience, Nick B. I really appreciated it. I had a shitty time golfing, and I think I'm going to take back to Hawaii some things that I think Hawaii golf's a little bit different. It's a little bit more relaxed, and I think I'm going to tighten it up a little bit. So listeners, stay tuned. The next match will be to be determined in Kapalua. But in the meantime, if you come out to Arizona, especially for a football game, the Super Bowl's coming up. The Raven Golf Course and the Legacy Golf Course in Phoenix are right next to each other. Both of them are great courses. Check them out.
Yeah, and let me also just give a quick plug about Whirlwind Golf Course, although I'm going to quickly turn this plug into a rant because I didn't get to ask the question of who got the most upset on the golf course today. And in fact, neither of us really got that upset because we were both having a really good time. We had music on the whole time. It was a wonderful day, perfect weather. But I told DK how on this past Saturday I got to play in the Scotty Deathridge Classic, the 15th annual. And I was so disappointed with whoever signed off on the Whirlwind Golf Course, allowing somebody to try to market. This marketing idea is the worst in the world. Please tell me if you think I'm wrong. They have a little plastic ring. What would you call it? Like a disc that goes around the freaking hole. And so it completely it completely takes away the sound of the ball going in the hole, which is a therapeutic sound. I mean, if you love the game of golf, you love that sound, obviously. So thumbs down to Whirlwind. Great track, couple tracks, usually good people, obviously really struggling marketing department. It screams, I'm hungry for cash.
B,
I don't care about golf.
Nick B, it's the 1-star rant. We're not getting into your business.
Okay, I'm done. I'm done.
As a 1-star rant, you're trying to. I know you've got investments going in the
Legacy Golf Resort, 32nd Street and Baseline.
Get out of here.
100%.
Who had 1-star moments this week, Rip? Do you have any 1-star moments? You shit your pants and the whole one?
No, but it's something just as bad almost, man. I have limited days off from work and this pod, so I'm working all the time. But I had Veterans Day off last Friday. So I said, I'll take this opportunity to wake up at the crack of dawn and get my oil changed on the minivan. So I scheduled the appointment right when they opened, 7 a.m. I was like, shit, I'll get this done, be out of there by 8:30, be home. So I get up at 6:30. I'm at the Carson Toyota off the 405. Wouldn't you know, man, I pull up and the guy says, well, wait a second. He's like, you're not due for an oil change. I'm like, what? So I look at the sticker and the sticker's accurate with where I'm at, but they printed the wrong mileage on the sticker. So I don't need an oil change for like 4,000 more miles. Every 10,000, I'm about 5,000 in. So I went all that way for nothing. Woke up at 6:15 in the morning, and one star moment of the week, man. Drove back home in my minivan. I was back by like 7:15, and just tail between my legs, man. Bad moment for me.
Tail between his legs, Rip. And I'm surprised you didn't try to tack on somehow your DoorDash endeavor that you're still running. We're 2 weeks into that. Is that still an existing? Are you still stretching yourself to make some feats? And really what you're doing is trying to, I think, just stretch your lease on your car. Sounded a bit silly to me. Are you still doing this? Are you still door dashing, bro? Unnecessarily.
I'm still doing it. I've made almost $200 in the last couple of weeks. So every half hour I get here, 45 minutes there. I do a couple deliveries, and yeah, man, it's fun. I actually like it. So yeah, putting miles on the lease and delivering food to the great people of Southern California.
What's been your most requested food so far? And is anything hit multiple times, or is it different stuff every time?
It's been different stuff every time. I haven't picked up from the same place twice. I mean, Long Beach has a ton of restaurants, but yeah, we've got some Chipotle. I had a Wendy's. Someone ordered a vegan burger from this vegan restaurant over here, and I delivered like 20 miles away. It was like, it's kind of crazy. I didn't even know that anyone outside of Long Beach knew of this place. But yeah, for a vegan
that's that $5.99 delivery fee. Nick B had some insurance concerns about the dangers of driving for the. He didn't think the juice was worth the squeeze, right, Nick B? You're a little concerned.
Yes, you know what? Yes and no. And thank you for bringing that up, DK. I actually thought you were going to get mad at me. I wasn't going to be able to talk about this part because. So I wasn't going to say the insurance concerns. I was telling, excuse me, after the episode last week, Rip, I was going to take your recommendation, and I'm thinking about driving for Uber or Lyft. I'm thinking about at least giving it a month to see how I like it. In a deep dive in those thoughts, though, I was realizing that one of the actually more dangerous things you can do is just drive on the freeway and drive around regularly. So I was double thinking safety. But as you were just telling that, Rip, I guess I do feel like an obligation as a fiduciary that if you do drive for any of these ride sharing food delivery programs, you do need to let your personal auto insurance company know, because there is actually a little bit of a gap in coverage there. And it's, not to go into the details, DK, just give me 2 more seconds here.
Give him the hook, right?
You're covered by Lyft and Uber or DoorDash or whatever when you're actually got a butt in the seat or a meal in the seat, so to speak. But in the time between you leaving your house or wherever you're at, once you accept that job and while you're driving to get that food or that person, your personal auto insurance company will deny a claim. So quick public service announcement.
You got to keep a hot bag in that seat up there, Rip.
Hot butt in the seat.
Rip, I'll give it up to you though. You're the safest driver in the world that I probably feel safest with. I think you make me feel the safest. I don't even know why that is. So congratulations. Do you feel very safe as a driver? Is that a concern for you? Are you concerned that your life is not worth $200 for a veggie burger?
No, the caveat to all this is if you make under $600 in a year, it's unreportable, just like if you win under $600 in Vegas gambling. So I don't have to file a 1099, I believe, if I make under $600. So that's my target. I want to make $599 and then possibly retire at the end of the year. So it's going to be short term.
Great stories for the pod, Rip. That's why Nick B's curious too. He just wants to go talk to people because he was curious. That's what we do on this podcast. We're curious mofos.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Rip is doing it the right way, and I got no love lost for you, bro. Nobody thinks about calling their insurance company. You don't even know, you know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't worry about that one bit because you got me on your side, right? If you got Nick B on your side, bro, we'll battle any
my gap coverage is
adjuster, bro. Yeah, come on, man.
No, it's like having an attorney. It's like having an attorney on the pod.
Well, man. We can't go that far. I don't know what our legalities are there. I'm definitely not ready to start fighting cases. But I'll protect you.
Who else had a one-star moment? I know DK's on the golf course today. What else happened this week to you fools?
So I actually have like probably 15 potential things that I could use as one-star moments of the week. But I want to take this moment real quick to say that I have to sort of call myself out because my wreck of the week from a couple of weeks ago, the whole Bloody Mary, fall asleep in your chair, terrible idea. Nick B's wreck of the week completely backfired in that I got charged for every single one of those Bloody Marys, bros. I have to complain. I'm used to flying Southwest, and full disclosure, when we went to Nashville, I did get a free drink there and back on Southwest using that sort of theory, but I was definitely ridiculous to think that it works everywhere and all the time. So Delta, United, and American, they know which seat you're in, bro. They don't need your credit card. They don't need anything from you. They just ding you.
You just saw the charge come up. We actually had a lot of feedback on that too. Listeners were definitely skeptical, Nick B, but I think it's that kind of a.
My one star.
It was just a wrong rec. It was an incorrect.
Totally was. But so since that wasn't this week, I'm going to say that my 1-star moment of this week was actually my wife was the one that determined it by looking at the statement. She was the one that brought it to my attention. So I could have been a little bit closer to taking a look at our credit card statement so that I could have at least been the one to determine it. So.
Hey, these kind of false recommendations are why we're the 1-star recruits, man. I love it. True to the brand.
No kidding.
Yeah, it stays on brand, Nick B. Classic. I was skeptical the second it came out of your mouth that it was a one and done situation, and you wanted to lock that one in as a straight fact every time as a recommendation for others to try. Classic.
So stupid.
Very 1-star. Very 1-star. But what we do
very full of myself there.
We try to recommend good things that hit us in a way that just make us feel good, whatever in the world. Some things are good, like Nick B said. Some things hit, some things don't. The thing is, Nick B, that drink that you thought was free made you feel good. So that's enough to recommend it in this particular setup that we have built in this wonderful show of ours.
That's so true. And honestly, bro, the props that you guys gave me while we were doing the show and the shit talking afterwards was well worth it. So
there it is. Whatever. Tell us the fuck off, Nick B. Rex of the week. This is the best recommendation I might have ever had, and I discovered it here in the wonderful city of Ahwatukee, of Chandler, Arizona. Rip, have you ever been to a Kolash Cafe?
Never. I don't know what that is.
Am I saying that right? Kolash?
I don't think so. I mean,
can you look it up, Nick. Rip. You know phonetics.
Here, I'll look it up. I'm going to say Kolache. I'm thinking Kolache.
That sounds right.
That sounds better. Kolache. Thank you, Nick B. The Kolache Cafe. Do you know what the kolache is? Have you ever heard of a kolache, Rip?
Is it a hookah? I have no idea.
That would be good too. It's a ball of dough stuffed with stuff. And I found it for breakfast, and they have drive-thrus in Arizona. The one that I found is ham, egg, and cheese. So it's a ball of delicious sweetbread stuffed with ham, egg, and cheese. And it's like $1.50 and delicious coffee. Kolache Cafe. If you have one in your neighborhood, go check it out for breakfast. They have all kinds of flavors, like 45 different flavors of kolache up in there. All all sweet rolls stuffed with stuff. Kolache Cafe. Get it on your radar. What do you got, Rip?
I'm shocked I'm shocked you've been in Arizona like 24 hours. I'm shocked you didn't recommend Ted's again.
I didn't go to Ted's yet. I haven't been to Ted's because I went straight from the airport down to the south side. But we did have Bono's Pizza. If you're in Arizona, sorry if you're from Iowa, we have totally lost all of you guys at this point in time. If you're still with us, thank you. Bono's Pizza, Rip. You remember Bono's on Dobson?
Oh yeah, I love Bono's.
Oh, he opened another location in Gilbert. So we got 2 pies. In fact, we have them sitting here in the Arizona studio. So we're gonna break into those. So I'm making my rounds, man. I have until Monday, so I'll give a full food recap. But in the meantime, try some new shit. Kolaches.
Do you want to give real quick, DK, to piggyback on that or to double yours up? Do you want to give the Buzzed Goat Coffee a little love too? Because they're in that same little shopping complex, and I didn't even know this. It's close to my office, and you told me that the Kolache Cafe serves the Buzzed Goat Coffee right there at the drive-thru, so you can get your local coffee. So good call on that, Rep.
So no generic coffee there. Get really good. Yeah, partnerships. That's the word of the day, Rip. Good partnerships there. It's a match made in heaven. I woke up this morning, Rip, excited as hell to get a kolache, more than golf, and it smacked once again. So
over under you're in Arizona, what, 7-8 days? Over under on how many times you're gonna get kolache?
10.
Cafe?
Let's set the line at 10 listeners. I might take that
more
over.
Than once a day. I do have to just come in here and say that I did suggest that DK and I do this pod from Ted's, which I still think would have been a great idea. But
that's coming.
Then again, with our technical difficulty problems, no, because it took us 45 minutes again to try to get set up.
No, we'll hire an audio engineer from like TaskRabbit or something when we do that. But that's coming, Nicky. That's coming.
I like it.
That's just coming. And if listeners want to check out what we did when we hired somebody last time, it was for our 50th episode years ago, but it's on our YouTube. Check out the 50th episode that takes you inside of our old school studio if you want to check that out. What do you got, Rip? What's your rec? What hit you nice this week?
Yeah, guys, as you know, I'm always looking out for the listeners' health. I don't know how it is in Arizona and Hawaii right now, but we got RSV floating around Southern California. COVID's still out there. Flu season's on us, but I found a humidifier on Amazon last week that's been money for the kids, put in their bedroom at night. And there's all kinds of problems with other humidifiers, moldy, water everywhere. But this one's a winner. The brand is called Levoit, Levoit. It's a 3-liter cool mist top diffuser for kids' rooms and nurseries. And yeah, it's super quiet. Brings out the mist all night. It's a Levoit humidifier. Check it out on Amazon. I'll put the link in the show notes. If you guys need to get your house more humid, then there it is, brother.
Nice. Cool. Does it smell?
No smell. Well, actually, they do have, you can put like essential oils in the top. I'm glad you asked that because that's another feature of it. We haven't used that yet, but we just do strictly water. But
most of them, you're not supposed to do that. So that is cool.
Yeah.
Well, it can help if you're like Nick B and you like your main bedroom smells like farts after a night. Put a little lavender in there.
Bro, my wife's probably listening to this, bro. She doesn't fart when she sleeps, dude. That's rude. Come on.
What do you got, Nick B? What do you recommend?
All right, I do got a record of the week, but before I do that, I just want to mention that's a really good recommendation, Rip. And I got to give some love to the medical cannabis community because humidifiers and LED lighting, whether you like cannabis or not, human beings on this earth, those two industries have been vastly advanced because of the medical cannabis community. So your typical humidifier used to cost so much more, and they're heavily used in the horticulture world. So I'm going to take your recommendation.
This is Nick B, listeners. This is Nick B taking credit for the dehumidifier. Onward with your recommendation, Nick B.
It was a humidifier, not dehumidifier, which you also need
which is the opposite.
When you're in the camp. Yeah, but we do have one of those too. You got to have one of those too. So, all right, my record of the week is going to be. DK is gonna. I got to back up in case you talk so much shit, bro, because I know you like to give me a hard time. But my record of the week is going to be to really do a personal exercise in patience. And what I'm talking about is, and hopefully it's the same way in Hawaii and California. I can't remember. I know Scottsdale's weird here in Arizona, where the green tornado comes after the red light or whatever. But my most places, you got a green light, you can creep out and you can turn left, or you're in line to turn left and the light, you get a green arrow. And what happens a lot of times is the person's looking down, texting, and it's their turn to go. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to hear people start honking. My record of the week is to be silent all the way, even if you miss a complete light cycle. I know of people over in California are screaming at me right now. Like, what are you talking about? Miss a light cycle? Are you talking about wasting, a minute and 45 seconds? Yes. I'm talking about just sit there, be quiet, be patient, don't do anything, and realize that life goes on and you're going to get to your destination a minute and a half later.
Phone, I get it if they're like having a medical emergency or something, but if they're on their phone, you're getting a fucking honk.
No, I'm saying you don't know what they're doing. I mean, they got tinted windows, bro. I'm guessing they're texting.
Don't you get scared though? If you're gonna honk, you might get shot. Especially
exactly. Why would you honk? Right. Just show patience.
Nobody practices that, Nick B. You practiced this?
I did it today.
Wow,
and it was successful. You went a full
life 6 times probably in the last 3-4 months.
I actually had it come up yesterday and I honked, man. But maybe I'm gonna rethink it next time.
I used to honk. Everybody, and actually, Rip, to give you some credit, there should be almost like 2 honks, right? There should be a friendly, hey, I'm just trying to let you know something.
Yeah, there's not like a lay on the horn. Like
so if you do it super quick, props to the people that just try to do it super quick, because that's what I used to do. But now I'm like, you know what? I'm never in a hurry that much that I need to worry about a minute and 30 seconds. So that's my new take and my record of the week. So DK, rip me up because I got a backup if you want to hear my second.
No, I like that, man. I think everybody can take that advice, man. It's hard to practice, but if you do put into practice, man, props to you, because that's something we could all use a little more of.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Respect. Nick B, thank you for taking me out on the golf course and hanging. It was a great time. I always appreciate having you on the podcast. Oh, here we go. Producer Winston just slid me a note. Kolaches are Czech pastries originate from. So
Czechoslovakia.
I want to go to Czech Republic. Czech Republic. Okay. Yeah. It looks beautiful. I'm a fan. This is turning me into a Czech fan.
Watch the movie Hostel before you go.
Oh God.
Got you to get you fired up for your trip.
Oh God, I can't do scary movies. I wanted you to just name a kind, nice-hearted Czech hockey player for me, Rip. That was
dude.
Jaromir Jagr, baby.
Thank you for sticking with us, listeners. We went in many directions as we usually do. If you have some time, hop on the app and give us 5 stars. Give us as many stars as you feel we deserve. We're totally cool with less than 5 if you feel deserving of that. Iowa, thank you so much. Big shout out to our guys, Rip, Wash on Walk-Ons. They got mentioned a couple of times, and they're kind of my inspiration for Iowa sports. Now I follow them. You should follow them too. And Rip, any thoughts to end this episode? Give me something good for the week because I'm here with my family in AZ. Give it to me.
Yeah, this actually relates a little bit to AZ. DK, one of the best parts about doing this podcast, as you know, over the past couple of years, is talking to guys like early in their careers, sometimes college, sometimes in between college and pros. And we had a guy on earlier this year before the NFL draft, Rachaad White. If anyone watched the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game against the Seahawks in Munich, Germany last weekend, it was his coming out party, man. He ran for over 100 yards. He's now the all-time leading rusher on German soil in NFL history, believe it or not, after that one game.
Crazy.
Yeah, just a good dude, Rachaad White. We're gonna have him back on after the season, and possibly the new starting running back for Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucs. So cool to see that happen so early, and just a good dude overall. So
great
fun
dude.
part about this pod.
Yeah, thank you, Rip. That's a great thought. Thank you for mentioning that. I was really proud to see him. I don't know, a little bit of a coming out party, and Midwest love. While we're there, our guy John Waller and his nut butter company. The best nut butter in the game. Check that out if you're on the Google machine, Nick B.
Humble nut butter.
Yeah, super good, man. They have it at a lot of Whole Foods. It's actually at the Whole Foods in Kahului, Hawaii, believe it or not. So check that out. Awesome podcast, Nick B. Like I said, I appreciate you. I want to give you a final thought, but I don't want to. But I'll give you one. Give me a final thought, Nick B.
Final thought is 77 to 111.
Woo! Was that an NBA score?
It sounds more like an NBA.
That Timberwolves Rockets?
No, that was best of 3 challenge, leg 1.
Ooh,
Embarrassing.
DK with the 111.
I put up 3/8 in the front 9. Enough said.
Crazy.
Love you, bros. Hey, we'll see you next week. World Cup special. We're going to talk some Thanksgiving. I got some questions about some Thanksgiving setups that is even worth it. You know, a lot of people try to make all this stuff, and people like the normal stuffing and the normal cranberry in a can. So I have some questions if I should even try to make stuff or if I should just buy the basics. So we'll get to the bottom of it. I know you guys are expert Thanksgivingers. Nick B is probably getting it catered at his fancy mansion in Chandler. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Late.